I just wanted to dispel one question I've been getting all morning as I walk around the show. People are asking me whether or not I'm still bullish on Bitcoin. And I would like to, just clarify that I am more bullish than ever on Bitcoin. The future's bright. So, we're here to talk about what we see in the future. And you've spent a career in institutional investment and capital markets, looking at it from the point of view of an investor. And I spent my career attempting to attract money from people like you, running a company in the public market. And so I think we're both half of the coin. And that's why it's exciting to talk with you today. So, in my mind, I got three main areas: the political, macroeconomic, regulatory environment. What's going on there in the next year to 2 years? And the second is the capital markets and what's going on with large pools of money, the people running the trillions and trillions of dollars, I guess hundreds of trillions of dollars. And then the third is technology. And of course, you love technology, you know the capital markets. We both have political opinions.
Yes.
Okay.
MicroStrategy CEO, Bitcoin enthusiast, and billionaire investor Michael Saylor and ARK Invest CEO and CIO Cathie Wood are extremely bullish on the leading cryptocurrency in the world, Bitcoin. The two tech investors shared an optimistic vision for the largest cryptocurrency, setting ambitious price targets at the 2022 Bitcoin conference held in Miami. Hello and welcome to Money Talks. In today's video, Michael Saylor and Cathie Wood talk about Biden's green light for Bitcoin, Bitcoin, good for inflation and deflation, and why they think Bitcoin will continue to gain adoption and increase the price. Make sure to stick around till the end of this video and see why Michael Saylor is highly bullish on the upcoming Bitcoin bull run. So without wasting any time, let's dive right into the video.
Yeah, I think the last 12 months has been just a 180-degree turn. If you roll back 12 months, you had so many smart people that had a lot of money and power saying, Bitcoin looks too good to be true. It's so good, someone's going to ban it. Right? We heard that. And I think a couple of weeks ago, with the executive order, what we had was the President of the United States giving a green light to Bitcoin. You have a one-page memo and it says, whereas 40 million Americans, rely upon this and this is part of their future, I hereby direct every government agency to get educated on Bitcoin and figure out how you incorporate it into the government. And I think that if I scan the last 100 years of history and I ask, when's the last time the President of the United States directed the government to embrace a new asset class? The answer is never. So I think that Bitcoin should be taking a victory lap for what happened here just in the past few weeks in the United States government. Because a year ago, Bitcoin was, maybe it was Eastern technology and it wasn't Western technology, and maybe the government was going to ban it and we're afraid of it. And what happened in the last 12 months is Bitcoin moved west, Bitcoin has been embraced. The administration has given a green light to Bitcoin. And, Congress and the Senate are enthusiastically figuring out Bitcoin, and now there's a little jockeying, I think, about who can be the most pro-Bitcoin politician.
Yes, bipartisan. This is a bipartisan issue. It's bringing our country together in many ways, which is, given what we've just been through, so shocking. The one thing that I will say we need to watch out for is, in China a few years ago, it was blockchain technology. all the way, we're going to lead the way. And then, of course, they banned everything in favor of their own CBDC, of course, the digital yuan. I don't hear talk about that here, and I haven't heard much talk about, hey, this is going to displace the dollar as the reserve currency of the world. That's very good that we're not hearing that kind of rhetoric, but I am sure as the elections evolve, someone will raise it as an issue. Nonetheless, I think the momentum is clearly behind Bitcoin now.
I mean, the momentum is clearly behind Bitcoin. Yes. A lot of people have anxiety about regulation, and they ask me, aren't you afraid? And I do not have anxiety about regulation. When I look at this, I say, yeah, there's a lot of stuff to be worked through. FASB's working through some accounting issues, FDIC's working through some banking issues, SEC's working through some security issues, the administration's working through all their issues. But regardless of how fast that happens and how sharp that occurs, I don't think there's any outcome other than favorable for Bitcoin. And I think that what I say over and over again is, Bitcoin is the ethical safe haven for any public figure, and it is the technical safe haven for any technical company, and it is the financial safe haven for any investors. So if you have anxiety, I think that people that are thinking about this are going to realize that Bitcoin is the risk-off crypto asset network, and all of this regulation is going to create volatility, but ultimately the single number one most important issue is you walk into a room with people that have collectively 10 or 20 trillion dollars, and you tell the story, and they say, well, Bitcoin sounds better than gold, and Bitcoin sounds better than owning a big tech stock, and Bitcoin sounds like the solution to all the world's problems, and it's just so good that someone is going to take it away from me because it's too good. And what you need is this one-page memo from the White House saying, no, we're not taking it away from you. Well, and then at that point, people can start to put billions of dollars into this asset.
Sure,
class.
And I think we have someone at the SEC who is behind Bitcoin. At MIT, certainly that was the case. And the SEC has declared, as we all know, that Bitcoin is not a security. Now, Gary Gensler is talking pretty aggressively about everything else out there being a security. So I think this has elevated Bitcoin from a risk point of view, not to a lower risk. I shouldn't say elevated. It's actually lowered the risk that it's so clear Bitcoin is not a security, and everything else, at least in Chairman Gensler's eyes, is.
So the regulatory future is bright. Let's talk about economics. Look, I think economically, everything that we're seeing in the last 12 months, inflation, war in Ukraine, Russian sanctions, the Canadian trucker crisis, CPI, unexpected PPI, and anxiety about how to manage a portfolio. All of these things have been bullish for Bitcoin, and anybody that thinks about it would realize that although they're unfortunate and unpleasant for the world, they have underscored to every mainstream objective observer the use case for a global non-sovereign store of value crypto asset like Bitcoin in a way that none of Michael Saylor's talking ever would.
Yes. Michael and I had a very spirited discussion yesterday afternoon about inflation as an issue, or is it ultimately going to go away? And we don't agree on everything, but one thing that I know and that we agree on is that if inflation is an issue, clearly Bitcoin is a great hedge against inflation. And to see the holding behavior in the Bitcoin community, I think, is it 70% of the Bitcoin outstanding, so roughly 13.5 million units of the 19 are in long-term holding hands, so more than 6 months. So the community gets it, and my fellow investors will get it with time, but in the meantime, it's going to be a very nice ride.
So I mean, that's a good segue to technology, because I think you're very enthusiastic about technology. I'm very enthusiastic about technology. And I think that technology is going to drive adoption of Bitcoin more aggressively in the coming 36 months, even than it has in the last 36 months. I guess I'd like to take a moment to give a shout out to Cash App and to Kraken, because I think both of those companies have done an enormous service for the Bitcoin community by integrating Lightning into their platforms, and I think they've thrown down the gauntlet.
Both Wood and Saylor believe that the regulatory winds are shifting in Bitcoin's favor. Cathie Wood remarked that just a year ago, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen spoke about Bitcoin in largely negative terms, referencing money laundering, nefarious characters, environmental damage, etc. However, Wood says that Washington insiders have since changed their tune. On the other hand, Michael Saylor is bullish on President Joe Biden's recent crypto announcement. Namely, Biden directed all federal agencies to research digital currency, a move which Saylor called a green light for Bitcoin. Saylor believes the announcement is a massive boost for BTC adoption, as it could be just what institutional investors need to jump in and invest in the asset. Wood also brought up remarks by Securities and Exchange Commission head Gary Gensler when he asserted that Bitcoin is not a security. This is important as it reduces the regulatory risk for Bitcoin, and this makes the cryptocurrency stand out even more among other digital assets. After discussing political risk for Bitcoin, Wood and Saylor moved to economic risks. Tech investors don't agree on the macroeconomic outlook for the world. Namely, Saylor believes the monetary policy will continue to be inflationary, pushing prices up. On the other hand, Wood asserted that tech innovation will create huge deflationary pressures that will offset the Fed's money printing. Moreover, Wood believes Bitcoin could also be useful as a hedge against deflation and against counterparty risk. Namely, there is no third party that seizes Bitcoins from someone's wallet. So what are your thoughts about Michael Saylor and Cathie Wood's latest take on Bitcoin? Tell us in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you soon with the next video. Thank you so much for watching.